Folks, we saw Nixon stalled for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Nixon extended his longevity in the White House for 2 years by every stall tactic imaginable. And his partner in crime was a guy named Mitchell. Remember him?
Yep.
And Mitchell served a prison term. That's how absolutely filthy corrupt he was. No worse than what we have today in the Department of Justice. However, that stall worked for Nixon. And don't think the stall isn't on right now. But Democrats, you can't stall. You can't say those things you said, Nancy Pelosi, and then put us through a stall. You have got to go hard right now. I think there's a guy named Ari Melber. Are you familiar with him?
Yes, he is a correspondent with MSNBC. I believe he's their legal analyst.
He said something the other day. I've been looking for it here while we're sitting and can't find it. He said, listen, you can stonewall Trump, but the facts are going to get you. Folks, the facts are there. The cards are in your hand, Democratic Party. Get them out on the table as fast as possible.
Yep.
Because we're going to be stalled. Don't you stall, Democratic Party.
Here's one more. This is breaking as we're recording right now. This is Caitlin Palance writing for CNN. Donald Trump on Friday lost his appeal to stop a House subpoena of his tax documents from his longtime accountant Mazars USA. In a 2-1 ruling, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit upheld a lower court ruling saying the firm must turn over 8 years of accounting records. And again, this is breaking as of right now. So this is just, the hits just keep on coming for Donald Trump.
We got resignations. We've got people indicted now that were working with the Trump cabal or crime family, whatever you want to call it. You've got indications that everybody is grabbing the Republican butt because they're afraid the glue's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not another day in America. It really isn't. There's a whiff of possibility and hope because if you don't get his claws out of our neck, we're done. That may seem like hyperbole. We said it years ago when he was elected, Darren, on this show.
Mm-hmm.
This is a matter of life and death, physical and political. We have a nation right now that has 40% built-in right-wing racist, red hat, Confederate pickup drivers that aren't going to change. They're not going to change. You can't expect them to change any more than I can think that rock outside my window right now is going to get a paintbrush and start painting scenes from my front yard. It's not going to happen. They won't. It's like teaching a lawnmower. It's like giving a lecture to a rutabaga.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to move that 40%. And Trump knows damn well you take that 40% and you cheat 15 more percent and you're in.
Yep.
He knows it. He's not worried about 20 election. The only way you're going to get him out is by the tongs of an impeachment.
Exactly. And I'm going to say this. You've mentioned the people wearing the red hats. You know what I call them, and I don't think I've used this term on air, and if I have, then I've forgotten about it. I call those people maggots. They wear a MAGA hat, make America great again. They're maggots.
Yeah.
MAGATS, maggots.
Yep.
And just like the rotten flesh that actual maggots from flies devour so that they can evolve into flies, that's what these people do.
Yeah.
They're on the rotten carcass of Donald John Trump and the Republicans because guess what? They're all in on it, folks. They're all in on it. It's a big club and you ain't in it.
Yeah, those people that we're referring to, they slept in their coffin for decades in the United States. We knew they were there.
Yeah.
You drove down through Georgia, Tennessee, and, they were still selling Confederate flags. But not like today. Those people were there, insignificant. They had things to live for, which was, another Billy Beer and another bass fishing tournament, another NASCAR. They had things to live for. But they were, in their mind, pretty much uncounted when it came to the policies and opinion of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly now, it's as if they were given a key to come out of that coffin and to have significance and to honestly feel like they were the superior intellects. They honestly, I mean, we know the racism in the South is based on the fact that the white person, no matter how poor they were in Appalachia, they were still superior to the black race.
Yeah.
That was their stepping stone anytime they needed it. But they were pushed back down in the hole, and Trump said, come on out. I'm going to give you a status. I'm going to give you a feeling of significance. You're going to count as a thinker for a while. Go to these rallies of mine. I'll give you a red hat. Don't open your mouth. Don't smile. But be at these rallies, and you're going to have impact. They look at us now as they think they were looked at for generations, Darren. Mm-hmm. They think the liberals. They think these gays and these, quote, their term, queers and these milquetoast, tree-hugging liberals, they're the ones at the bottom of the social ladder where they were. They've taken that place and given it to us in their mind. Don't think they're not coming after us, too. They feed off of revenge. They feed off of violence.
Yep. And we'll get to that when we get into our Hammer Time segment.
I can't wait.
I've got a couple more stories before we get there. This first one is, again, CNN. This is by Jamie Gangel and Caroline Kennedy. I had no idea Jamie Gangel was working for CNN. She had been with NBC forever.
Yeah.
This is dated October 11th. A senior advisor to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has resigned, two sources familiar with the matter told CNN Thursday. The advisor, Michael McKinley, had been a diplomat for over 3 decades and served as ambassador to Peru, Colombia, Afghanistan, and most recently Brazil, until he was appointed to his advising role in May of 2018, that according to his department biography. The departure comes as Pompeo faces increasing pressure from House investigators over his recently revealed presence on a phone call in which Donald Trump pressured Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden and Biden's son Hunter. Of course, they'd love to stress this. There is no evidence of wrongdoing in Ukraine by Joe or Hunter Biden. Why do they keep stressing that? Is it? I mean, I don't know. The Washington Post first reported McKinley's resignation, adding that it came in the midst of growing discontent at the State Department in response to Pompeo's perceived lack of support for department officials caught up in investigations linked to Ukraine. Pompeo, who recruited McKinley as an advisor and liaison to the career service, is expected to address McKinley's departure on Friday, according to the Post. McKinley declined to comment to the newspaper. A person familiar with the situation told the Washington Post that McKinley saw Pompeo as benefiting the department compared to previous Secretary of State Rex Tillerson for fostering differing viewpoints and halting Tillerson's freeze on promotions and limits on department employees' spouses working abroad. The Post also reported that while McKinley was not working directly on Ukraine policy, he disapproved of what he saw as Pompeo's insufficient public support for department officials implicated in Trump's dealings with Ukraine, as subsequently called to testify in House Democrats' investigation. McKinley was involved in several policy spheres, holding key roles in foreign policy efforts in Venezuela, Mexico, and Afghanistan, the Washington Post reported. The last a key international focus after Trump revealed last month that Taliban leaders had been slated to travel to the U.S. for secret peace talks, but that the meeting was canceled as he called off peace talks with the militant group entirely. Yeah. So they're all jumping ship, Jack. The rats are heading for the gates. They're heading for the nearest lifeboat.
Yeah, they are. They're getting so desperate that this was just released 10 hours ago. Mm-hmm. Kevin McCarthy, we need to tell people who he is taking the cash and trying to return it. The cash which he, now I know this is, it's like the old Elliot Ness shows on Saturday night, that were taken from the indicted pals of Giuliani. Mm-hmm. He's taking that money and trying to return it.
Yeah. I
mean, what other signs do you need?
And he thinks that's going to be the fix for his problems.
And then Zelensky, not played by Dan Aykroyd, came out yesterday with like a 4-hour marathon news conference trying to sponge bath and clean off Trump and this phone call.
Yeah.
How much money did that cost Trump? I mean, really. How absolutely absurd. It is idiocracy.
Speaking of Trump money, I can tell you where Trump money is not going. It's not going to pay back cities for the rallies that Trump holds. I have this story. This is by Megan Vasquez, writing for CNN. This is dated October 10th out of Washington. Donald Trump's re-election campaign sparred with local Minneapolis officials this week when a local arena threatened to bar the campaign from holding a rally if they did not pay a $530,000 bill, a fee that was passed on by the city for security services, among other costs. When the Trump campaign threatened to sue over the bill, the arena eventually withdrew the request. However, the city's mayor maintains that the campaign still owes them money. Minneapolis isn't the only city claiming that the Trump campaign has stiffed them for providing city services at their events. The Trump campaign still has outstanding invoices from at least 6 cities related to city services, primarily security, provided during campaign rallies. The Center for Public Integrity reported in June that at least 10 cities had not had invoices paid for more than $841,000 in services related to public safety costs for Trump campaign rallies. CNN has found that at least 6 of those cities still have outstanding invoices. And here's the list. El Paso, Texas, for a rally held in February of 2019, totaling $470,417. Spokane, Washington, for a rally held in May 2016, totaling $65,124. Mesa, Arizona, for a rally held in October 2018, totaling $64,467. Eau Claire, Wisconsin, for a rally held in April of 2016, totaling $47,398. Lebanon, Ohio, for a rally held in October 2018, totaling $16,191. Burlington, Vermont, for a rally held in January 2018, totaling $8,464. In addition, city officials in Orlando, Florida, Manchester, New Hampshire, Rio Rancho, New Mexico, and Jack, Grand Rapids, Michigan, where Trump held rallies in the time since CPI's story was published, told CNN that there are no outstanding bills or invoices.
We said this 20 minutes ago. Trump and his cronies are giving you the bird. Mm-hmm. They're standing there saying, F you, America. We do what we want to do. We respond when we want to respond. We pay the bills we want to pay. We don't pay any at all. This isn't new for Trump, though. He did this in his business life. Mm-hmm. There's still, I don't know, I saw 100 debtors.
Yeah. He stiffed contractors on building his hotels and golf courses all over the world.
And how many idiots, how many of those idiots we talked about earlier told us about how successful he was as a businessman back in 16? How he, as a magician, took some of Daddy's money. They didn't know it was a few $1,000,000, but that was just that was his hallmark. He was a successful businessman. He's a successful slimeball crook. That's how he's successful. Ivanka is about to be taken to court in New York City.
Good.
But I digress. Let's go back to what they're doing to you, United States. I want to call for a response. They're standing there saying we'll do what the F we want to do, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it.
That's
the
exactly
French,
right.
The protests in the Far East, in Hong Kong, mm-hmm. We need those times 2. We need them now.
Yes.
We need them tomorrow. We need to keep going.
Yellow vests. We really do, folks. Let me continue the story here. A representative for one city which held a Trump rally told CNN that they don't typically invoice campaigns for city services rendered during campaign events. A representative for another city told CNN that though they do invoice campaigns for services rendered during rallies, there's a low expectation as to whether they'll actually be paid. As Center for Public Integrity reported, cities typically provide public safety services for campaign events when they're requested by Secret Service. However, Secret Service has asserted that there is no funding mechanism for the agency to pay cities for those security services rendered. A person familiar with the arrangement said approximately 10 cities had billed the Trump campaign for rallies out of an estimated 550 they have held. The Minneapolis bill, the source claims, was 26 and a half times